Welcome to this press conference, and welcome President Zelensky. Welcome all my Nordic friends and colleagues. Iceland's Prime Minister Bjarne Benediktsson has also joined us today, but he had to leave earlier. As of today, all the Nordic countries have signed their bilateral security agreements with Ukraine. This is a true manifestation of a long-term commitment to support Ukraine. After more than 10 years of Russian aggression and more than 2 years of full-scale Russian warfare, Ukraine continues to fight with an extraordinary determination. This means that we confirm our commitment to strengthening Ukraine's defense capabilities by providing military equipment, training, and help to develop Ukraine's own defense industry. Our support will be guided by Ukraine's needs. Thus far, the Nordic countries together have supported Ukraine with approximately 17 billion euros in civil and military support. Sweden's latest military support package, announced just a few days ago, has a very clear focus. We will provide air defense capacities in close cooperation with our partners in the Air Force Capability Coalition. And the package includes 2 airborne surveillance and control aircrafts, which will significantly strengthen the Ukrainian air defense. The package also includes much-needed artillery ammunition and armed vehicles. I know my fellow Swedes right now are proud to support Ukraine. It is a true investment, not only in Ukraine's security, but also in Sweden's and Europe's. Volodymyr, you and the Ukrainian people can count on continued strong Nordic support. Our strategic aim is Ukrainian victory. We also welcome Ukraine's peace formula based on international law and the UN Charter, including respect for Ukraine's territorial integrity. And we will participate on the highest level at the upcoming Peace Summit in Switzerland and contribute to a broad global participation. Let me conclude by reaffirming our support for Ukraine's integration into the Euro-Atlantic community. Ukraine's rightful place is in NATO, and we will continue to encourage Ukraine's path towards EU membership. We stand with Ukraine for as long as it takes. Over to you, President Zelensky.
Thanks so much. Thank you so much, Ulf. Thank you, Prime Minister. Thank you, first of all, for the superb organization of our summit. Alexander, Mr. President of Finland, Madam Prime Minister of Denmark, Jonas, Mr. Prime Minister of Norway, dear journalists. Before I begin, I want to share some good news, very good. Today our team managed to bring back 75 people from Russian captivity. These are both military personnel and civilians. Their families have been waiting for them at home for so long, and I'm happy that we could continue this work of freeing the captives. Each return of Ukrainians demonstrates that it is possible to restore freedom and safety to all our people, and I thank everyone who helps. So today was our third summit Ukraine, Northern Europe, and in this format we can feel true alliance. And I am grateful to Sweden, thank you so much again, to Norway, Denmark, Finland and Iceland for the rock-solid support in defending Ukraine against Russian terror and Russian aggression. We in Ukraine never wanted this war, and it's true, and are doing everything to establish a just peace as soon as possible. This is only possible through sufficient military strength and strong diplomacy. Our today's negotiations were dedicated exactly to this. First, unfortunately, Putin had the captivity and has the capability to expand the war. The situation for him is far from as good as he tries to portray it, but he can still expand terror against our cities and villages, attempt to widen the combat area, and is preparing more military force near our borders. Russia is also signaling that it might be ready to commit aggressive provocations, particularly against borders in the Baltic region. We must change this. The key to positive changes for us on the front and in the war overall is air defense, of course. Russia has no other fundamental advantage besides aerial bombs, missiles, and combat aircraft. We must do everything to destroy Russian combat aircraft, just as we are already destroying Russian warships in the Black Sea region. For this, we need Patriot air defense systems, and today we talked about how to speed up the delivery of Patriot systems to Ukraine. And I thank my colleagues for their understanding. Second, we have established a new security architecture within our so-called Ukraine, Northern Europe, with 5 security agreements already signed. Today, agreements were signed with Sweden, Norway and Iceland, earlier with Denmark and Finland. These are truly strong security measures that will strengthen us from now until Ukraine joins NATO. The agreements outline the scope of military support this year alone. The combined military support in all 5 agreements amounts to 6 billion euros, which is significant. Thank you so much, partners. And additionally, we confirmed our extensive defense cooperation, including joint production of weapons and joint production of equipment. We also formalized our joint political efforts to strengthen the EU and NATO. Thank you for your clear commitments on these issues for Ukraine. And today we discussed in detail the need to start negotiations on Ukraine's EU membership as early as June, and the preparation for the NATO summit in Washington. The summit must be productive, and Ukraine believes that this cannot be achieved without addressing the issue of Ukraine's invitation to NATO. And third, our diplomacy must be as effective as our weapons. The most important thing right now is the peace summit. It needs to become truly global summit. At this moment, we already have nearly 100 states and international organizations participating in the summit, but Russia is blackmailing some leaders and trying to block the participation of certain countries. We also do not yet have confirmation from some of partners, and today we discussed how we can strengthen our peace efforts together, the peace summit, and I thank you for your help. Thank you so much for your support. Slava Ukraini.
Thank you so much, Volodymyr. Thank you so much. Alexander Stuban, you will unfortunately have to catch a flight later on, so please.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you very much, Ulf. I'll make it short and try to summarize why we as Nordics are here and why we have all 5 of us signed a security agreement with Ukraine and why we have supported with Ukraine with, roughly speaking, 17 billion euros. I think there's a short-term aim, there's a medium-term aim, and there's a long-term aim. The short-term aim is to provide Ukraine with ammunition, with military vehicles, with defense material, so that it can win this war. The situation on the ground is critical, and I call upon all of our Western allies and those who support Ukraine in its defense against Russian aggression and imperialism to help out as they best can. The medium-term aim of us is to provide what President Zelensky rightly called a just peace. And therefore, I think it's of utmost importance that as many countries from around the world as possible participate in the Peace Forum in Switzerland on the 15th of June. I call upon as many countries from the global south, global east, and of course the global west, including the United States, to be there. It is a question of how we find a common path towards peace. That is what President Zelensky and the Ukrainian people are trying to do. The final and third aim is to give maximum support for Ukraine towards EU membership and towards NATO membership. It must be made clear to a country like Russia and to a leader like Putin that aggression has consequences, and those consequences are that Ukraine is European, a member of the European Union, and a member of NATO. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alexander. Thanks for being here as well. Thank you. Mette Fredriksson, please.
Thank you for hosting us, and thank you, Volodymyr, for joining us today. I don't have a lot to add. You have already said what is most important, but we hope with today's meeting that it's a strong message that all the people in the Nordic region of Europe stands firmly with Ukraine, and we have said it from the beginning. We will support you as long as it takes, and that's what we have repeated for you today. Today's meeting is necessary, and the second message is very clear. We must speed up and we must scale up our support for Ukraine because the situation on the battlefield is so critical. Now we have security commitments from all Nordic countries. We have donated a lot and we are all willing to donate more. Soon Danish F-16s will be on their way to Ukraine. We have all contributed to the joint procurement of ammunition. And we are all agreeing now on the need to scale up our own defense industries and at the same time, and this is, I would like to underline this, support the production on weapons, on ammunition, on drones in Ukraine. So what you need on the battlefield can be produced where they are used and to get it to the front line faster than what we have succeeded with today. There's a risk all the time that we as allies outside Ukraine donate too little and too late. And we have to change that so you will get the needed help much faster. So let me just conclude by saying that I agree with you, Alexander, for now. Our main goal is to ensure what you need on the battlefield and at the same time to do what we can to support you on your way to the European Union and to NATO. You are a part of our Euro-Atlantic family, and we all have to do more to ensure also your people, the brave people of Ukraine, that their future belongs to what you want to be, and you want to be a part of the European Union, and you want to be a part of NATO, and you belong to the Euro-Atlantic family, and we will do as Nordic countries what we can also in this question.
Thank you, Mette. Jonas Gahr-Støre, please.
Thank you. I will second my colleagues. I agree with what they say. Let me make 2 or 3 remarks. First, Russia's war on Ukraine has changed Europe. It has also changed the Nordics. When we first faced this, there were 3 NATO members of the Nordic 5. When we now come together in Stockholm, there are 5 NATO members among the Nordic 5. That, I believe, is a significant strategic change, but it is also a unity of purpose of countries that have many similarities, common culture and common values. One of those common values, President Zelensky, is that we are pragmatic and practical people. So we pledge support to Ukraine, we provide what we pledge, and we deliver what we have promised. Now we want to be very practical in hearing your call for air defense, in hearing your call, providing from what we may have, helping to fund what other may have and be able to contribute. And we listen carefully to what you and your staff ask when they have precise issues you would like to raise. For example, for Norway, we are together with the United Kingdom chairing the maritime dimension of the support, and we will provide more maritime support to what it takes to defend Ukraine from the sea. We are today announcing additional financial support to provide part of these air defense systems from other partners in Europe. And I'm happy to see that move forward, and we will be impatient and be on the phone with our colleagues to make that happen, because time is of the essence. Again, Norway is proud to support and to sign the security agreement, a 10-year engagement. Our agreements are very similar, as you know. So in 1 year, we have reached those agreements, and we will do what it takes to follow them up. We will be present in Switzerland in some 2 weeks' time. And this is a step towards what will be peace that Ukraine can live with. And let me just say this to you, President Zelensky, and your team. You are now heading the most brutal defense operation we have seen in Europe since World War II. And we associate the Ukrainian leadership with what it means to defend. But I know the burning desire of these people to have peace. And when we visit Ukraine and meet the people of Ukraine, or we meet the refugees who come to our countries, they have one dream, and that is to live a regular life as European citizens in a free Europe and a free Ukraine. So let us not lose that perspective. This is really about the lives of people. And we, the Nordics who enjoy peace, we feel that this is not an isolated value. It is a value we need to fight for and share with our other friends. So again, meeting with you here in the Nordic setting for the 3rd time in 1 year is a very meaningful use of our time. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Jonas, and please, thank you so much. Over to questions.
Yes, over to questions, and we will have the questions in English. We ask you to keep them short. We ask you to direct the question, and only one question per media. We will start with Reuters over here.
Simon Johnson from Reuters. This is to President Zelensky. Can you confirm that the US has given Ukraine at least limited permission to use US-supplied weapons to respond to Russian aggression in Russian territory? You can use this as a cross-border weapon, at least in the area of Kharkiv. And can you explain what they've said, how they are limiting those? The use of those weapons. If you could give us some details about that, that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We've got a message from American side early in the morning today. I've got this message from my military guys, but I can't tell you the details about it. I want to see in practice what will be, but I think anyway, this is some step forward to that goal which we discussed before, to make possibility to defend our people who live in the villages through the borderline. And that's it. For today, that's it.
The next question from Hilla at Helsingin Sanomat.
Yes. Could you provide an update on the current status of the mobilization? The recently passed mobilization law indicates that 800,000 conscripts have been registered at the conscript offices. As per law, those called to the front during a state of war are required to undergo 3 months of basic training. Based on this, when and how many new Ukrainian troops could potentially be deployed as a result of the new law?
Розгорнути, що мається на увазі? Дякую за запитання. Якщо можна, я відповім.
Thank you so much for this question. If I may, I will reply in English language regarding mobilization. I'd like for you all just to understand the technical details. The mobilization never ended for us. In times of war, mobilization is obligatory. The war goes on, mobilization goes on. So the law of parliament, it adopted certain changes to the legislation on martial law, on the law of mobilization. Today, the registration must be obligatory for men that are of mobilized age. That is the digitalization of this process. In order not to have many various registries, because nobody was preparing for such war, and technologically now we have an opportunity to register for every person, and this does not necessarily mean that the person goes to the front. No, this is an obligation for each of us who is of mobilization age to be registered. And this is an open data. You can see that now more than 1 million people have registered. This does not mean that these people will be mobilized. I underscore this yet again. The mobilization was going and it goes on. I will be honest with you. After this law, the mobilization has increased, honestly.
Mads Kosager at DR. Over there.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Zelensky, as the Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen said, soon the F-16 planes will be in Ukraine. Do you expect no restrictions for the use of them, not only around Kharkiv, but along the entire front line, also for hitting Russian planes launching these glide bombs? And how important is that question for you, the question about the restrictions on the F-16s?
Really, for today, I don't know the details how we can use our future jets F-16. The good step that we will have, and some of them we will have this year. Is it enough? Not. Do we have too much of them? Not. And I think not too much to compare in the sky with Russians. I'm not sure that for today we have possibility to use these jets on the territory of Russia. We will see. We began to speak about it, and I said that I think that using any weapon, Western kind of weapon, on the territory of Russia, it's the question of time. I think so. Otherwise, it's not about the just peace, and they can stay just on their territory through the borderline, just attack us and kill like it now is going on. This way, they attack and we can't. And this is something not normal. Yes, and I think so. Maybe I'm not right, but I'm sharing with you what we see. So that's it, and that's why I think, of course, if Russia attacks our civilians, if Russia attacks our energy network, water supplies, without what people can't live. So if they attack us on the distance, for example, like with the thousands of guided bombs, by the way, 3,200 they used 1 month per month. So if they attack on the distance 100 kilometers from Russian territory, it means how we can defend. So today I shared with my friend that if they use 3,200 these guided aerial bombs, we don't have, I think Europe doesn't have totally such number of Patriot missiles. So you have to attack their jets. That is the answer, only one way. And if they use their jets only from the territory of Russia, for today, this is the answer, how we can use them. If we really want not just to speak that we have jets, if we really want to have strong position of Ukraine.
We'll take the next question from Nora Torp Björnstad from VG.
Mr. President, you've been stressing the urgent need for help from your Western allies for a long time now. Now a fair part of these packages are being pushed through, but considering the very difficult situation on the battleground in Ukraine, do you worry sometimes it might be too little, too late? Thank you.
Мені здається, що
I think that the most difficult situation is with time. The biggest issue is time and the supplies of this equipment, because you understand that months are needed to train on certain equipment if it's not artillery shells or, for example, armored vehicles or something like that. So months to train and then months of supplies. So the issue is with time, and sometimes you may have the equipment, but the enemy is pushing you back. To the positions that are not that well defended, and therefore I believe that everything is connected only to this. I can't say that Ukraine achieved packages. It is good, and we're grateful to our partners, to the United States of America, for the great supplement that was voted for in Congress. But after the voting, there should be steps of agreeing, approving the supplies, training, etc. So from the moment of acceptance of the supplement to the moment when you can use it, half a year can pass, or even more. And it seems to me that this is the main enemy of ours, the slow supplies.
Then we'll go to Hedda Berglund from Swedish television.
I also have a question for President Zelensky from Swedish Public Service Television. Sweden is putting plans to send Gripen jets to Ukraine on hold. This has Sweden's been asked to wait while the F-16 fighter jets are being introduced. Do you think that this is the right strategy, or should Sweden reconsider providing Gripen aircrafts instead?
we had the Prime Minister about Gripens. My position that we are training, for example, we train now our guys, pilots on F-16. Since the decision of, for example, Prime Minister of Denmark, Mette, from the positive decision in August, yes, last year, now they're finishing, guys. So this is 1 year. It's not depends on Mette or on me or on you. It depends on this process. The process is too slow of training mission. My position that we have to change the process. It's very difficult. We have to speak with all the allies and NATO and etc. But I think that this is the problem. This is the first point. The second point, if we can count on positive decision in the future on Sweden jets, my position is if we can just begin now to train. That is my position. Because if we will begin to train after F-16 will come to us, it will be minimum 1 year plus. That's why I think the most, not comfortable, but the most strong for us decision is to have possibility to train parallel with F-16, to train on Sweden jets.
And that concludes this press conference. Thank you for attending.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.